Hello everyone, and welcome to my Kurask Slayer guide. To be able to kill Kurasks, you're going to need to have level 70 Slayer, and you're going to want to have at least level 70 to 75 combat stats. I would definitely recommend. And to kill these, you can actually technically use all three styles, though I don't recommend using magic because you'd have to use Slayer Dart, and it is quite expensive with that because then you won't be making as much money because these are definitely a good profitable task. Ranged is worth it, and with ranged you can use broad bolts. If you do not have them unlocked, then you might want to just melee them. Being able to melee them, you will need to have a leaf bladed weapon. These weapons consist of the leaf bladed sword, the leaf bladed battle axe, and the leaf spear. The leaf spear can be purchased from any Slayer master, and the leaf bladed sword and battle axe can either be bought on the Grand Exchange, or if you're an Iron Man like myself, you will have to receive them as drops from the monsters that drop them. The monsters that drop them are Turoths drop the leaf bladed sword along with also the Kurasks, and the Kurasks exclusively drop the leaf bladed battle axe. The leaf bladed sword from a Kurask is a 1 in 384 drop rate, and the leaf bladed battle axe is a 1 in 1026 drop rate. And the leaf bladed sword from a Turoth is a 1 in 500 drop rate. Therefore, you are better off getting them from Kurasks, though you're going to be able to need to kill the Kurasks, so if you do not have broad bolts unlocked and you do not have a leaf bladed sword or battle axe and you're an Iron Man, I definitely do recommend buying a leaf spear from a Slayer master. It isn't great, but it'll be your only option unless you want to use magic dart, which I don't even think is that good here. It is definitely decent on Turoths, so I guess you could just use it on Turoths till you do end up getting it, but again, it's completely up to you and optional. A decent inventory setup to bring here is basically just food, the best food that you can actually use or afford, depending on if you're an Iron Man or not, of course. Super sets or a super combat potion. You don't even need a prayer potion here. I don't really use prayers, but I guess if you have piety unlocked, or if you want to just use some protection prayers if you're a lower defense level, then you can definitely bring one or two, but you don't really need that many. They do hit decently high, but infrequently, at least I feel. And you can just bring a lot of food to compensate for it, and teleport out and teleport back if you have a fast teleport method too there. A fast teleport method there would be the Slayer Ring. If you do not have the Slayer Ring unlocked, then it is definitely a lot longer to get there. The next best method would be to have a house teleport tab and use a redirection scroll on it to make it go to Relica, depending on if you have those unlocked. If you have the Fairy Rings unlocked, they're definitely a good transportation way to get here. Next, you're also going to have some elks. They do drop lots of items that you can elk, and you don't want to necessarily bank them because you're going to want to spend as much time on that trip as you possibly can, because you want to stay there so you can have the noted items stack up and then just bank for food when you need to. Like I said, banking is kind of a long time trip unless you have a Slayer Ring. You don't even need a stamina potion. I just have this in case you do not have a high agility level, because agility levels will matter quite intensely here, especially if you're banking quite often, because of some of the obstacles that I'll be talking to you about later. So if you have a low agility level, you definitely want to have either a stamina potion or maybe an energy potion or something like that. And this is a really good task, especially for Iron Man accounts. Main accounts is really good for money to profit off of, but Slayer XP is really bad. But because it's a good task for resources and for money, I really recommend bringing a Bracelet of Slaughter, and if you do not have access to a Bracelet of Slaughter on your Iron Man account, then maybe just your best in slot gloves, and if you're a main account and you do not like this task and you don't care about the money, you just want it done and over with, then maybe don't bring a Bracelet of Slaughter, maybe bring an Expeditious Bracelet or something like that. For gear, Slayer Helm for sure if you're on task. If you're not on task and you're just camping these for money, maybe a Nezinot Helm or something like that. I just have a Glory because I'm a hardcore Iron Man, but if you are a main account, maybe just bring a Fury or a Torture, whatever you can afford. I have a Blessing, but that only matters if you're praying. I'm not even praying, I just have it always on me for some reason. I have a Dragon Defender, of course the leaf bladed sword. If you have a battle axe, that's even better. The sword's pretty bad if you have a battle axe, so don't use it if you have one. Or if you're a main, you can just buy it because it's only 113k. Fighter Torso, but you know, you can use whatever you want in that slot. Defensive gear is decent, I guess, because if you're not going to pray, but if you are going to pray, definitely Brawl Slate or something like that. But if you're not going to pray, anything with strength bonus or maybe defense bonuses, of course, like a Bandos would be great, but I don't have that. Obsidian plate legs is what I'm using for my leg slot. They give strength bonus, very similar to what the Bandos Tassets give. I have a ring of life because I'm hardcore. I just have climbing boots because they're my best in slot, but for DPS, not at least for defense, but that's what I'm bringing. And I have a fire cape. So you can switch out any of these that you want if you're like a main and it's like not your best in slot that I'm showing. These are just my best in slot for my Ironman, so that's kind of what I'm showing. But again, you can just change it however you want, but just kind of bring a decent melee setup, I guess. And if you're ranging, of course, just change everything out here for ranged equivalent gear. Alright, so now to get there. So I'm going to show you the way with the Slayer ring. So I do have a Slayer ring, so I'm just going to rub it and we're going to teleport to the Relica Slayer Caves. And when you do that, you end up actually teleporting inside of the Slayer. Once you're in the Slayer Caves, you're going to want to run past these cave crawlers. Then there's two paths you can take. You can go to the north path, or you can go through the west path. The west path will require agility, and that is the definite problem here. So if you do not have the agility level required, you're going to want to run all the way around. If you do have the agility level required, then you're going to want to slip through the obstacle. This first obstacle requires level 81 agility. You can boost for it, so if you don't have the 81 agility but you can boost for it, then it is definitely worth doing so. It cuts off a lot of time having to go all the way around this area, and it saves you from having to use the stamina potion that I told you could bring. But if you don't have the requirement, you're going to have to just do that and run all the way around. Next, we have this shortcut, which requires level 62 agility. It cuts off even more, I would say, so it is definitely worth having. But it is obviously a lot lower of a requirement than the other one, so just use that one if you can. Once you're through there, you're at Turoth. So if you do want to kill the Turoths for the sword, this is where they're located. If not, just keep running over here, west, and you will come to Kurasks. Now, if you're on Slayer Task, there's actually this little staircase you can climb, and there's other Kurasks up here which you can kill on task only. I don't like it because they're actually really spread out. I'll give you a little preview over here. So as you can see, there's a guy over here doing them, and they are very, very spread out. Like very spread out. Like they're horrible. It is not worth doing them up there in my opinion. Oops, I don't want to tag that one because that guy's an Ironman as well as me. But down here they're very close together. There's just a lot less of them, and you're going to compete with a lot of people. I'm in a 2K world, so it's kind of empty over here. I don't know why that guy's in the Slayer only area. When there's no one here, this is a lot better because they're all close together. So once you get here, pod up, use your superset or your super combat potion, and just go in and attack them with your leaf bladed weapons. And attack them and deal some damage. So as I said before, these are located in the Fremennik Slayer dungeon. They require level 70 Slayer and leaf bladed weaponry in order to kill. Their attacks are relatively inaccurate, but they'll hit really high if they do. They have a decent max hit of 11, so if you have a low defense level and a low HP level, maybe be a little bit cautious of that. They have 97 hit points, and they are not poisonous. And because they have 97 HP, they also award you with 97 Slayer experience, since Slayer experience is based on the HP level of the creature that you're killing. Fun fact, they are immune to any weapon that isn't leaf bladed. However, if you have a Saradomin Godsword and or a Toxic Blowpipe, the special attacks of those will still heal you with the damage that it would have dealt on the monster, making it worth it if you do actually have those unlocked and you want to heal mid-task. So as you can see, this is basically it. You just attack them and you just pick up the loot when they drop it. And it's very self-explanatory, very easy. In this guide, I definitely brought way too much food for myself. I definitely don't usually bring this many. I bring a few inventory spaces so I can have noted items to just stack up, or when I bank, I just bank like the herbs and I leave the seeds or the noted items in my inventory so that I know exactly which ones I have available for sharks and stuff like that, and then I just go with what I have to carry and stuff like that. But they do have really good drops. For a main account, you can make a lot of money per hour here. Like, people use this as their alt method for money making quite commonly, but as an Ironman, these drops are just so super valuable. Like, they add up so much, and this task is just crazy good for Ironman accounts. These monsters drop a wide range of seeds, herbs, alkables, and special drops. The special drops are basically the drops that are only on these drop table for this monster, which are basically its rare drops, which will make your money per hour here quite insane, but only if you do them for multiple hours. it'll boost up your GP per hour quite a lot. Me, for instance, I've gotten a Mystic Robe Top already from these in the past, and only the one. However, it ended up being a 70,000 GP drop, which is pretty crazy if you're a main account, because then it's an elk that you can just get 70k from whenever you want. And they're definitely pretty AFK. Like, you can only attack one at a time because they're not multi-way, but you basically just attack and just wait because they don't deal a lot of damage. And you can just kind of not really pay much attention. If you really start taking a lot of damage, you could just melee pray. It's not a big deal, but I don't like to do that because you don't really need to do that here. I guess if you get a superior spawn, then maybe pray melee, but because they will hit really high, but other than that, you don't really need to bother with it. And that is the Kurask head. The Kurask head can be placed in your player-owned house, and it isn't worth any money. You can't sell it on the GE, but it is something really cool to get if you do receive one. It is a completionist type item, so I guess if you're going for completionist on old school, then it is kind of worth it for you to do these to get that item. But other than that, maybe it's not too great for a normal account or normal person that doesn't want to care about the useless completionist things, unless we do get a completionist cape, which would be pretty cool if we did receive one of those. And like I said, their regular drops are just pretty darn decent. I would say you can average 500,000 GP per hour here super easily. You could even get more than that. It just really depends on your RNG and which drops you do end up getting. Of course, they have a lot of other types of resources and monetary values as of elks and stuff like that. And if you're an Ironman account, these herbs and seeds and elks and everything else, just the resources in general, just help your account out so very much. Like, for instance, these coconuts are so useful for Ironman accounts because then you can use them to pay for your magic trees or your dragon fruit trees. And if you're a main, currently coconuts are worth quite a decent amount of money because of the fact that the farming guild came out with the dragon fruits and all that kind of stuff. It just skyrocketed the price of them because they were worth like 200 or 300 GP each before that came out, and now they're worth 1500 GP. They skyrocketed so incredibly much, and they're coming to the game a lot less frequently now because of the whole Zulrah nerf and all that kind of stuff, and they come through the game quite frequently still through here and all that kind of stuff, but most people don't really. I guess people do camp these on like bot accounts maybe, but I know people do use alts here as well, so it is definitely worth it. Alright guys, but that'll be the end of the video, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please hit the thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content like this. I really appreciate you guys for watching to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.